The desert wind had a way of swallowing sound. Out here on this abandoned U.S. training range somewhere beyond Nevada's restricted zones, even laughter vanished into the dunes like ghosts. But the laughter right now was loud, sharp. Mocking.it was coming from a group of 8 Delta Force snipers, all leaning against their gear crates, grinning like wolves as their senior instructor stepped aside to reveal the newcomer, a woman, a small one, a woman with a simple request. "Let me take one shot." The Delta boys looked at one another, then burst into a fresh round of laughter. "Sweetheart, that rifle weighs more than you," one of them said. "You sure you're even tall enough to see over the scope?" Another teased. "Put a booster seat for her," someone in the back shouted. More laughter, but she didn't flinch, didn't blink, didn't even adjust her black cap as the hot wind lifted the sand around her boots. Her name was Isla Quinn, and unknown to them, she had just spent the last 3 years being molded by Joint Special Operations Command into a weapon so precise. Even the Rangers whispered her call sign with respect. But these Delta boys didn't know that. All they saw was a woman, lean, calm, barely speaking, asking to take one shot on their range, using their gear at a target distance no one outside Delta had ever beaten. They didn't know the truth yet. They didn't know what she was capable of. They didn't know this day would become a story military instructors would tell future recruits for years, but she knew. That was enough. The instructor, Master Sergeant Colt Harrison, a legend in the Army's sniper community, tried to hide a smirk. "Quinn, you sure about this? You hit this shot, you break their record." And they've been holding that record for 8 years. Isla nodded once, calm, silent, deadly. The Delta boys looked at one another. "Oh, this is going to be good." One of them whistled. "Somebody film this. I want to watch it again when she misses by 2 football fields." Isla heard all of it and ignored all of it. She stepped past them, grabbed the M2010 enhanced sniper rifle, and felt its weight settle in her body like it belonged there, because it did. She lowered herself to the ground, moving with ghost-like stillness as she aligned her breathing. The Delta boys quieted. Maybe it was the way she handled the weapon. Maybe it was the way she suddenly seemed to merge with the earth itself, or maybe it was the feeling in the air, the wind shifting, the sun dimming. Behind passing clouds, the desert going strangely silent, like the world itself was holding its breath. Isla inhaled, slow, deep, controlled, and the instructor whispered, "Target is 1 mile, 382 yards. Current record, 3 shots, 3rd hit confirmed. You want to beat that? You hit on your first." The Delta sniper smirked. "No pressure," one said, but Isla didn't answer. She already wasn't listening. Her eyes narrowed through the scope. Her finger rested against the trigger like she was touching something sacred. The wind shifted again. She made her calculations in silence. Wind angle, humidity, barrel temperature, Coriolis effect, mirage distortion, bullet drop at extreme range. The math ran through her head like a language she was born speaking. The instructor watched her with growing curiosity. Something about her stillness wasn't normal. This wasn't confidence. This wasn't arrogance. This was something else. Mastery. Isla whispered something so soft only the wind heard it. Not a prayer. Not a thought. Just now. A single breath left her lungs, her finger tightened, and the desert erupted. Boom. The round left the barrel like lightning cracking across the sky. The Delta boys leaned forward 0.1 mile, 0.2 seconds, 0.3 seconds, 0.4 seconds, and then pinged out a perfect strike, dead center. The kind of hit that didn't happen by luck, chance, or miracle. The kind of hit that required something born from fire, suffering, training, and unbreakable will. Silence swallowed the range. The Delta boys froze. The instructor straightened slowly, his expression unreadable. Nobody breathed. Nobody moved. Until one Delta sniper whispered, "No way." But the digital screen confirmed it. Impact, center circle, bullseye, shots fired. 1 record, shattered. The men who had been laughing a minute ago now stared in disbelief at the screen, the target, and then at her. Isla stood, dusted sand off her pants, and handed the rifle back to the men who were suddenly speechless. Then she gave the smallest shrug. "You said you wanted to see what I could do." Master Sergeant Harrison stepped forward, staring at her with the eyes of a man who had trained hundreds of elite shooters but had never seen something like this. "What the hell are you?" Isla adjusted her cap, turned to him, and answered calmly. For a long moment, the wind was the only sound on the range. The Delta snipers, men who had spent years mastering long-distance precision, were frozen in place, staring at the digital screen as if it had betrayed them. An 0-1 moved, an 0-1 blinked. It was as if that single, perfect shot had carved a wound through the pride of the elite. Finally, one of the Delta shooters, Stockton, built like a wall with a personality twice as loud, broke the silence. "Run that again." The tech replayed it. Impact confirmed. Wind data confirmed. Trajectory optimal. Shot time identical. Everything was perfect. Isla Quinn's bullet hadn't just hit the target, IT had owned it. Stockton rubbed the back of his neck. "That's not possible," he muttered. "She's got to be using some kind of magic," another Delta sniper said. "No, brother. This is worse. This is skill." The instructor, Master Sergeant Harrison, walked toward Isla, slow, careful, almost respectful. Men like him didn't give compliments easily. Men like him gave recognition only when something truly extraordinary happened. "Isla Quinn," he said, his voice a shade quieter. "Where the hell did you learn to calculate wind shear like that?" She didn't answer immediately. Isla wasn't the type to flex. She wasn't the type to brag. Her confidence didn't come from destroying records. Her confidence came from surviving the things that made her. "I learned it," she finally said, "in places where the wind mattered more than the bullets." The men exchanged glances. That was not a normal answer. Harrison folded his arms. "You're not just a shooter," he said. "You're something else." The Delta team shifted uncomfortably. Isla stepped past them, picking up her small rucksack from the sand, as if the shot she fired meant nothing. As if she hadn't just humiliated the best snipers in U.S. Special Operations Command. She wasn't concerned with the record she broke. She was concerned with the storm she felt coming, because she saw it in their eyes: challenge, curiosity, and something else, something dangerous: respect. Real, fighting man respect, which meant things were about to get serious. Harrison turned to his snipers. "All right, ladies," he barked. "You just got your egos shot off. Somebody do something before I write this into your evaluation reports." The Delta boys exchanged looks. Then Stockton grinned. "Fine," he said. "She broke our long-range record. Good for her." He stepped forward, cracked his knuckles, and looked Isla straight in the eye. "Now let's see how she does with our moving target course." Isla raised a brow. "Moving target?" she repeated. "Oh yeah," Stockton said. "This is Delta's signature course. Unbeaten by outside shooters. You want respect? Beat this." One of the snipers jogged ahead and hit the control switch. 10 mechanical targets, lifelike silhouettes, rose from the desert floor. Some rotated. Some sprinted across tracks. Some appeared and vanished like ghosts. This was a nightmare course designed to break shooters, not flatter them. Isla studied the range calmly. "How many it's needed?" she asked. "Minimum to pass is 7 out of 10. Stockton's smile widened. "But if you really want to impress us, go for 10. Harrison folded his arms again. "You sure about this, Quinn?" She adjusted her cap. "I don't miss moving targets." The Delta team snorted collectively. "Oh, this is going to be fun. Somebody record this. Put dramatic music over it later." Isla ignored them all, settled on the ground again, and picked a rifle. This time the Delta custom-tuned 22 Malawian Quaches, a weapon few shooters in the world had ever touched. She checked the chamber. "Smooth." Checked the optics. "Zeroed." Checked the bipod. Stabilized. She lay down, her heart steady, her breath controlled, her mind switching into a state very few humans could reach, the state where the world slowed down, where movement wasn't random, where motion had rhythm. The moment the course activated, everything exploded into chaos. The silhouettes sprinted sideways. Another popped up at extreme angle. Point one rotated behind a protective shield for half a second. This range wasn't designed for accuracy. It was designed to overwhelm. Isla's eyes tracked everything in a way that made the Delta snipers feel uneasy. She wasn't analyzing. She was predicting. That terrified them more than her previous shot. Then crack. First target. Hit. Crack. Second target. Hit. Third. Fourth. Fifth. 6.6 for 6. Impossibly fast, impossibly clean. The Delta snipers were no longer smirking. Now they were stepping closer, watching her, jaws clenched, pride bleeding. Stockton muttered, "No way. Nobody clears the sprinting shield target." Crack. 7 target down. The tech running the console slowly turned toward the others. Guys? Hush, Harrison said. 8th. 9th. Every shot timed with precision that didn't feel human. By the time the 10th target appeared, a half-second pop-up behind moving cover. The Delta snipers actually leaned forward like spectators at a boxing match. Isla didn't blink, didn't hesitate, didn't breathe. She fired that crack. The 10th target folded backward. Silence smothered the entire range again. Then the system beat point 10/10. Perfect score. Fastest time. New record. Stockton dropped to a squat, hands on his helmet. Oh, hell no. No, this is illegal. Another Delta sniper threw his hat on the ground. Is she a cyborg? The youngest Delta sniper whispered. I think we just met our replacement. Harrison stepped toward Isla again. Isla Quinn, he said slowly. If you were Delta, I'd put you on my team yesterday. She simply replied, I'm not Delta. And then she slung her rucksack behind her shoulder, brushed sand off her jeans, and walked past the silent group of elite snipers. No pride, no arrogance, just quiet strength, the kind that hurts more than disrespect ever could. But she didn't get far, because behind her, she heard Harrison call out, Quinn. She stopped, half turning to Harrison's voice dropped lower. There's one more challenge. One only the best attempt. Stockton shook his head vigorously. No, we are not doing that. She'll embarrass us on YouTube for the next 10 years. But Harrison ignored him. Isla Quinn, he said. You want to prove yourself? She waited. Then take the Mirage Shot. The Delta snipers paled. Stockton whispered, Nobody hits the Mirage Shot. Isla blinked once. What distance? She asked. Harrison smiled faintly. 2 miles. The wind shifted. The sky darkened a little, and Isla Quinn's heartbeat didn't change at all. The desert range grew quiet in a way Isla had not felt all day. Even the wind felt different, heavier, expectant, like it sensed what was about to happen. The Mirage Shot had a shot so far, so unstable, so distorted by heat waves that even the best Delta shooters hit it maybe 1 out of 40 tries. 0.2 miles, past the ridgeline, across shifting crosswinds. Through a heat distortion so thick the target bent like it was made of rubber. Isla looked toward the distance. The target was so far away it wasn't even a shape, just a blur that wavered on the horizon. The Delta snipers stood silently behind her. No jokes, no laughter, no mocking left in them. Now there was only respect and a little fear, Stockton muttered. If she hits this, she's not human. Harrison stepped beside her, placing a hand on the stock of the custom-built rifle on the bench that IT was Delta's pride, an extended 22 Malawian Quatches, tuned so precisely that only a handful of shooters were allowed to use it. Quinn, Harrison said quietly. This shot has broken the confidence of shooters who served 20 years. Don't take it unless you truly want to. Isla didn't even blink. I want it. Harrison exhaled slowly. Then God help us all. Alia dropped to the ground, settling into the sand once more. The earth felt warm beneath her elbows. The desert heat shimmered in waves across the valley, stretching upward, warping everything it touched. Through the scope, the target danced. IT didn't stay still. The IT didn't have clear edges. Every second, the Mirage distorted it in a new direction. But Isla Quinn wasn't watching the target. She was watching the wind, the sand. The spheres of heat moving like invisible rivers that a normal shooter saw. Chaos. Isla saw a rhythm, a pattern, a language. Her breathing slowed. Each inhale long, each exhale slower. The world around her faded until there was only the rifle, the trigger, the heartbeat in her ear. The Delta boys watched her in absolute silence. In no jokes, in no bets, in no whispers. Just awe. Because they could feel it. Feel the shift. Feel the tension. Feel the moment when greatness decides to reveal itself. Isla's finger brushed the trigger. Her voice was barely audible. Wind, 8 left. Drop 32. Mills, pulse in 3. Harrison blinked. How the hell is she calculating pulse timing too? Is she tracking atmospheric layering 1? She fired. Boom. The rifle recoiled, dust exploding around her elbows. The bullet began its impossible journey, slicing through the scorching air, fighting gravity, bending across the wind currents. Isla had read like lines in a book. 0.2 miles, 0.4 seconds, 0.5 seconds, 0.6. Delta snipers held their breath. 0.78. Then pinged at a soft, perfect, metallic strike echoed back across the entire range. An O1 moved it. In O1 breathed. Someone dropped a water bottle. A T hit the sand louder than the shot. The digital system flickered. Impact confirmed. Center mass Mirage Shot completed new range record shooter. AYLA, and the Delta snipers erupted in disbelief. Stockton nearly fell forward onto his knees. One of the others cursed loudly. What? What? Someone check the system. Did God steady the air for her? Another grabbed his helmet, laughing like a man who had just seen a ghost. Harrison didn't say anything at first. He simply stared at the woman lying calmly in the sand, at a woman who had done what none of his elite shooters had ever achieved, at a woman who had walked into their world, unannounced, underestimated, and reshaped it with a single bullet. Isla stood slowly, not triumphant, not arrogant, just steady, quiet, deadly. Harrison walked toward her, boots crunching in the sand. And then, in front of all, 8 Delta snipers, the legendary Master Sergeant Cole Harrison, did something no one expected. He saluted her with a full, formal military salute. The Delta boys straightened immediately, shock rippling through them. Isla blinked, then returned the salute calmly. Harrison lowered his hand. Isla Quinn, he said, voice steady but filled with respect. If there's ever a day Delta needs a miracle shot, we'll know who to call. Isla nodded once. Then she lifted her rucksack, slung it behind her shoulder, and began walking off the range as the sun dipped behind her. Not one of the Delta snipers laughed this time. Instead, they watched her with an eye usually reserved for legends. As she walked toward the desert road, Harrison called after her. What do we even tell headquarters, Quinn? How do we explain this? Isla paused, looking back over her shoulder. Her shadow stretched long across the sand. You don't, she said softly. Just tell them you witnessed a story. A story? Harrison asked. Her eyes narrowed with a calm, quiet smile. A story from, she tapped her cap, her brave stories. And then she walked into the golden haze of the desert, leaving behind a group of elite soldiers who would spend years retelling the day a woman shattered their pride, their records, and everything they thought they knew about shooting. The day she asked only 3 words. Let me take one shot, and changed all of them forever.